Hello and welcome to another video from the Tradelands Nation. This recording was made the day after the Halloween event ended. For those who visit our website, especially those who visited over the past few years, you know that our group focuses heavily on data points around the economy in Tradelands, which includes items that are bought and sold in game. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the hottest item that came out of that event and try to make some projections for you. And that item is Skelestone. Wow, the hype on this was impressive. It made an initial public offering on our Grand Isles Stock Exchange after just 3 days. Normally, an item will take around 3 weeks to a month at best before it is able to influence the stock market. And the reason Skelestone did so well was because it was one of the most talked about items throughout the entire event. Everything from the soup line where people would line up to actually get their turn at the machine that generated this, all the way up to the angry veterans who were upset that in saying that everyone needed to fight and insisting that playing nice was against the rules. You'd see it all if you were actually trying to mine some Skelestone, and your experience would vary based on the server that you were on. But the question behind all of this, what is Skelestone worth? Especially to those who probably spent their entire event hogging this machine, probably bored out of their mind just waiting for it to drop something, doing nothing else, this was a very important question. And unfortunately, the signs are not very promising if that's what you did. You see, the reason that we have such a poor outlook on this is because there's actually a precedent that has been set by a couple of other items. At one point, before anyone really knew what Skelestone was or what it was capable of, its first sell price was around 20,000 per piece. This is where the hype set in. It basically caused a gold rush. Everybody in the game suddenly wanted to have a piece of it. They thought they could go there and they could strike it rich. But that quickly changed, however, especially as the volume started to increase and they realized nobody's buying, everybody's selling. And at that point, it steadily dropped in value throughout the entire event. On November 1st, when we did the month-end market close on the stock exchange, we actually put up some red flags to say that the value of Skelestone was heading for a collapse. And now, just a couple of days after that, we already see it trading as low as 5,000 per piece. And it still appears that it could fall even further. The reason? Well, there's just no demand for it. Sure, lots of people are selling it, but no one's buying. And there are two items which we can use to demonstrate the phenomena that is occurring here, and to help us predict what is going to happen with this item in the future. The first is the off-sale premium woods. Now, if you visited our website and you saw the write-up that we did on this, we actually used Inulin Oak as our example. But instead, for today, we're going to use a different one, and that's Heartwood, which has a similar availability window and is reliably available every February, which is what we expect is going to happen with Skelestone as well. These two charts that we're showing on the screen tell an interesting story. They show the value of Heartwood from May 1st to the day in which we're recording this video, which is November 5th. First, as time went on, Heartwood gradually regained some of its value. But the period adjustment report, which is an indicator of how stable its price point is, shows that aside from a couple of buyers every now and then, it's actually a very fragile trend. And that means someone who lowballs on buying Heartwood from a seller who has it in bulk, that tactic will probably actually work. And the thing to know about Heartwood is that this is really a cosmetic item, which means it provides no value to those who are looking at it for its combat preferences. And that brings us to our second one. The other item is ice. Ice has a unique factor in that it has a combat effect. As a result, it is able to demand a better price point, but it has almost the exact opposite trend as Heartwood, which is just a purely cosmetic material. In this case, the events in which they are gathered act as a sort of price reboot, and after the event ends, demand slowly dissipates over time as sellers either forget about it, sell off their inventory, or buyers just stop caring. This results in a steady fall price that occurs as soon as you can no longer mine ice, and then it begins to reset as soon as ice can be added back into the market, or whenever the winter event starts that year. So, Which of these two trends do we think Skelestone will follow? Well, that will become clearer once we actually see people try to use it in combat and start reporting on their experience. If it turns out that this is just purely a cosmetic material with no combat attributes at all, then it's not likely to follow the same trend as ice. Instead, it's probably going to mirror heartwood. But then, if it follows heartwood's trend, we have to figure out what's the base price for that. So, here's a question. On the screen are two images that show two different cosmetic materials that you can actually make in the game: gold and Skelestone. So tell me, which image is gold and which image is Skelestone? If you're not able to figure that out in a glance, then I don't think it will take the market long to figure out what the true price of this material should mimic. By the way, this is what the gold trend currently looks like. So, now that you know that, it's time to determine if you were one of the ones sitting in that soup line waiting for your turn for Skelestone. Was that a good use of your time? I guess we'll just wait and see.